Namo Namaste Gurave Mahatmane Vimukta Sangaya Saduttamaya Nityadvayanandarasasvarupine Bhumne Sada Paradayam Budhamne Namaste Namaste Vibho Vishwamurte Namaste Namaste Chidanandamurte Namaste Namaste Tapoyoga Gamya Namaste Namaste Shruti Jnana Gamya Namaste Namaste Tapoyoga Gamya Namaste Namaste Shruti Jnana Gamya. Hari Om Tat Sat. So the important points which we have to remember throughout is, as she mentioned, that everything in creation is made of these three gunas, and as such gunas, they are not bad. Without them, we cannot get liberated also. The problem is with our sangha, our ego, our desires, our three bhava, our doership and enjoyership, the idea of the ego. These we have been explaining. So that causes the problem. And the three gunas basically are Sattva guna is that reveals, that throws light on everything, reveals everything. It is builds in more and more of awareness of things. Rajoguna involves us into activity, but at the same time, these are all desire motivated activity, because Rajoguna by its very nature, it applies the color on the world. It just does not allow the world to see as the Sattva guna does. It applies the color of our likes and dislikes, our me and mine and others. So we see the world colored by this, and we don't see the world as it is. So naturally we get attracted and repelled by various things depending on our likes and dislikes, and we get troubled by that. Tamo guna represents inertia, darkness, lethargy, inattention and delusion. Now these three gunas, it is not just one guna is operating in somebody, another guna is operating in somebody. All these three gunas are making our personality. But which is predominant? What is their proportionate, what is the ratio of their presence in somebody? And which is working predominantly? Suppose sometimes Sattva guna is controlling the Rajoguna and Tamoguna. Sometimes Tamoguna is ruling over Rajoguna and Sattva guna. Depending on that is our behavior in the world. So the method, we said that two things there very important. One is, because Sattva guna is the revelatory power, it helps us to helps us to attain knowledge. And I said that the basic problem of human life is, according to our Shastras, that ignorance. That is, as I said, that the sun is always there, but the sun is covered with cloud. We cannot see the sun. When the cloud is removed, the sun is visible. We have not created the sun. Sun was all along there. But we were not able to see it because of the cloud. Exactly like that, in our deepest level, we are always, all of us are Atma and Atma alone. Which Atma? It is not fragmented by the body-mind personality. It is universal and transcendental also. We call it one, but it is more than one. It is transcendental is a real word. So in reality, this Atma is imperishable, immortal, unaffected, pure. But we don't behave in that manner because our mind, buddhi, everything is deluded with the three gunas and we are not able to see the pure form of this Atma. In that I said that this ajnana or ignorance has got two kinds of power. One is called avarana shakti, another is called vikshepa shakti. The avarana is the cover that is covering our real identity. The moment our real universal identity is covered, all the troubles come because we enter into selfishness, competition, jealousy, blamefulness, running after things I like, fearing what I dislike, to face what I dislike. All the worldly trouble comes from the segregated small identity we feel that we are, when the real identity, universal identity is covered. Now we have to accept this from the Shastras. As long as we are not clear about this, how can we be the universal identity? But that should not prevent our sadhana. Our sadhana can progress towards this goal of realizing our real identity. But even if you don't realize it, doesn't matter, because whatever the Shastras specify about the qualities, the characteristics of this Atma, if we start cultivating them, our life will become much better and free of all kinds of these troubles, and we will become very mahat, we will become large-hearted, embracing the whole world, never worrying about what I gain or not. And in the process, we will become happy. This is the fundamental thing. Now, as we said, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, that Sattva Guna always takes us towards knowledge. So it is called Vidya. Vidya means it takes us towards knowledge. Whereas Rajoguna and Tamoguna, they are the avidya, the two powers. Tamoguna creates the covering of our real identity. It brings in the ignorance and does not allow us to know what we are. It is in its extreme sense. And Rajoguna, the moment our real identity is covered, Rajoguna forces us to engage us in all kinds of activity, desire-motivated activity, because of the fragmented vision the Rajoguna has created. I like this, I don't like this, this is mine, this is others. That makes us work. Because we start feeling that we are not happy, we have to become happy, and we can be happy only by getting this or getting that. We never do the vichara or think, introspect that, is it so? If I get that, will I become permanently happy? Nobody has ever become permanently happy by getting anything from the world, but actually we don't think about it. We don't do the vichara. Otherwise, by getting money, if people become happy, have they become happy or they have become more agitated and also fearful about losing money? By getting fame, have they become happy or they have become more competitive that somebody else is becoming more famous? Everywhere, if we think properly, we will find that we cannot become permanently happy by getting anything from the world. This vichara will tell us. If we listen to the Shastras and do the vichara ourselves, it will be clear to us that it is so. Actually, the happiness we are looking for from the world is not in the world. The happiness is within. That everybody can understand, it is generated from within only. As we always give the example that suppose you are standing in front of the first time you have gone to the oceans to see the ocean or any other beautiful scenery. You get so overwhelmed with the beauty and feel so happy. What happens is generally if you are on a hilltop or in front of the ocean, the mind takes the dimension of the ocean and you are so happy. Immediately, suddenly the news comes that you have lost your job or lost somebody or so. Immediately the mind collapses. The same ocean is right in front. It is there as beautiful as it was. but it is no longer give you any more happiness because the mind has gone to what I have lost. Do you understand this? It is, anybody can understand, but we don't apply in our case. That is the problem. So, the happiness is within, and we feel that the fulfillment of the desire is making us happy. Actually, it is not so. The desire is always making our mind agitated, anxious. The mind gets disturbed and it is not able to feel the happiness which is always oozing, welling forth from our real identity, the Atma. The Ananda is the source of it. Our rishis discovered first this Ananda before discovering the real I. And they sang, Ananda adhyeva khalvimani bhutani jayante anandena jatani jivanti anandam pravishanti abhisamvishanti. That the whole creation is actually, it is floating in Ananda. Ananda means a sort of a joy. Even when it is a destruction, the massive destruction, or there is acute suffering, that is also floating in simmering Ananda. So everywhere it is joy. Why? The joy or the Ananda is the real nature of the self. As we say Satchidananda, you must have heard all. At least you sing Satchidananda, Satchidananda, although you may not think about it. That Ananda is the self property, the self coordinate of our Atma. So not knowing that, what the desire is doing is that we think that we will feel happy by getting something from the world, and as long as we don't get, it goes on disturbing our mind. So when we get what we desire, for a moment or little time the mind remains relatively free of agitation because you have got fulfilled your desire. So that desire has got removed now. So the mind becomes a little settled and you get the desire, get the joy, you feel the joy. So you think that the fulfillment of desire has given me the joy. Is it not so? But actually this desire is agitating your mind. Suppose, I give another example. Suppose you are wanting something very intensely. When you are looking for you are having some intense desire, then all other small desires about food, etc. will go. Is it not? People even when they have such aim, then they will even forget their food timing, rest for the body, everything. So those desires have all subsided because of the intense desire. So when the intense desire is fulfilled, immediately you get a great joy. That greater joy is because the other smaller desires have gone. It's a clean slate for at least that moment. And that joy will remain until another desire comes up to get something else, or the fear of what you have got by desire of losing that takes your mind over. Overwhelms you. Is it understandable? So, truly speaking, our rishis, they discovered that it is not the fulfillment of desire, but it is the elimination of the desire that gives us the joy. So, they were intelligent, they are not fools like us. So, immediately, what is the conclusion? That eliminate the desire. Why should we have desire? It is redundant. Whatever to be done, we will do, but we will never think that we will become happy by getting that material. We always say that people are deluded. Why? They think that by marrying this person I will become happy. And they run after that. We are saying that there is no harm in thinking that I will marry that partner. But never think that by marrying you will become happy. Then you marry. But we think we will become happy, and after marrying soon it becomes the other way. That also will be much better. The married life will be much better if you don't think that by marrying I will become happy. You look for the partner in an impersonal manner who will be matching. It is not just two persons, there is a family, there is so many other things to be gone into, whether he or she will help me in our household work or not, or he will only go to the cinema and all these things will be thought about properly, provided you are not deluded by that I have to get him or her and then only I will become happy. This is our delusion about everything. If it is so, suppose as a child you were thinking that by getting this food, I will become happy. Getting some fried item, I will become happy. When you grow a little, you think by playing this game, I will become happy. You grow a little more, you think that by getting first rank or a good result, I will become happy. When you further grow, you think that getting this job, I will become happy. Or sometimes before that itself, you think by getting this girl or the partner, I will become happy. Then you start thinking that if I have a good son, I will become happy. Then is a good grandson, if they are well placed, well married, then I will become happy. So you just do the analysis that if that object would have given you happy, then how this object is changing every year? Do you understand my point? So it is our delusion. Whereas always we are missing the happiness which is always welling forth from inside. The true identity, the Atma, which is everybody having, the same for everybody, it is always calling us that don't be deluded, I am there. Come to my lap, you will immediately become happy. We know that every day when we have a deep sleep, sushupti, we feel the happiest at that time. We don't feel at that time, getting up, we understand that it was a most happy state. So that is the state when we had forgotten all desires, all fear, all anxiety, the mind had gone. So that is actually we are in the lap of the soul. In deep sleep we are in the lap of the soul, but at that time the buddhi is not wakeful, the mind is not aware. So we don't come to know, we only know when we get up that I must have slept very well, I have slept very well. So I was saying that even if you don't know, don't have the experience of the Atma, our Shastras are explaining everything which we can do the vichara, introspect, and find out the truth of it. And our life can become much more satisfying, much happier, much more fulfilling, not only to myself but to the society also. We will not take the wrong steps we are generally taking, not be deluded by the world. Now, this is, I am saying that our slavery to the world. Slavery means the moment something which we like is not there, about food, about place, about accommodation, about the person. If the person abuses me, immediately we get annoyed. So we lose our self-seatedness. That is, a person is abusing you. What is the harm? It is his business. If it is true, you should thank him or pay him some money that you have pointed out my fault, I can correct myself. If it is untrue, it is for him to deal with, why should I get up? But generally what happens is that we get all the more agitated and start abusing him more than what he is doing. I have told you Buddha's story that he was sitting and the tantrika who was abusing him again and again. He abused for such a long time that he got all the more agitated and said that you don't consider me a human being? I am talking to you for such a long time, you have not responded to at all? You have become so egoistic about yourself that you don't consider us to be human beings. Then Buddha replied that dadatu gali mantah bhavantah. See, in this world, anybody can give whatever he has. You are giving me gali because you have enough stock of gali. How can I give you a return gali because I don't have any gali means abuses. I don't have any gali, how can I give you gali? Do you understand? Bhattacharya goes one step further. He says that in this world it is very difficult to please anybody. Even if you give him lot of money and other things, then also he will speak ill of you. He will not be happy. But if somebody just by giving me gali becomes happy, I am all the more happy that not doing anything I have made him happy. See, these are all the poet's vision. We should learn from there. Why should I bother? I should be happy that by giving abuses to me, he is becoming happy. Let him give. If it is not true, then how does it matter? Can we not apply these things in our life? So this is what we mean by in management they take case studies from different places. In our case, all the case studies are from our mind and intelligence. So these are the case studies which we can apply any situation of life whenever it is applicable. So, we are slave to the world. Ma often says that don't say slave to the world, people don't like it. I mean, let them not like it, then only it will strike. If you say they are following the world, then who will... You call that they are slave to the world. Actually they are. They are too much slave to the world. So what is the harm in accepting the truth? So, this is what is happening. The other day also I explained that the physical body with 5 senses, it is given to attraction and repulsion towards the world. And we cling to what we like and we hate what we dislike. That is called the raga and dvesha. Raga means clinging to what we like and dvesha means hating what we dislike. So, we are always guided by raga dvesha. That is why Bhagavad Gita there is a shloka, raga dvesha viyuktaistu vishayan indriyaischcharan atmavasyair vidheyatma prasadam adhigacchati. That man attains the placidity of the mind, the peace of mind. Who? He says, who is freed of raga dvesha? He behaves, he is interacting in the same world where we are interacting. After getting rid of raga and dvesha, clinging to what I like and hating what we dislike, he interacts with the same world, with the same sense organs, with the same personality. But he is no more agitated or affected at all. Why? Atmavasyair. He is anchored in his real identity. So he doesn't get deluded by the raga dvesha. Vidheyatma. His life is disciplined not by external control, but inner law of harmony. He has discovered his real identity, which is the substratum of the entire universe, of the nature of world also. So he goes in harmony, he moves in harmony with that. His mind is always in tune with infinity, infinitude. He is always working in harmony with nature. Atmavasyair vidheyatma prasadam adhigacchati. He attains the prasada, the placidity. Prasada we say, actually we don't say there sukha, because prasada is equally present in sukha and dukkha. In suffering also they can take with that placidity of mind. They don't hate suffering. They would rather like to suffer also, because it takes their mind to a greater depth. 5 senses and the physical body, they will have raga dvesha, and accordingly they will be running after things, running away from things, behave as a slave to the world. Now normally our mind always cooperates with that. If you like a sweet which will be detrimental to our body also, but if the senses, the tongue is looking for that sweet, the mind will tell you that you go to Little Caterer and get that and have it. So they will run after that. So following the senses, it also becomes slave to the world. That is the fundamental point we should remember. The mind, because it is, without its support, the senses will not do anything. Following the senses, it is also becoming slave to the world. And buddhi, which can easily remain independent, but it is also equally entangled with the mind and the senses. The buddhi will tell you that how to get it. For the thief also, the buddhi tells him that how to do the robbery. So the buddhi is equally affected by that. It is very well mentioned in Bhagavad Gita in the 3rd chapter, where Arjuna is asking that, I have understood all this. If this is our real identity, O Krishna, that we are like this in our real nature, then why is it that people commit sinful activities? Atha kena prayuktoyam papam charati purusha. As if by a storm their mind is taken away to do sinful activities, wrong activities, harmful activities. Why is it that? That same question should come to you also, that we are repeatedly saying the mind in its real form, the consciousness, it is absolutely pure, unaffected, it's imperishable, it is immortal. Then why are we running after small things and always suffering from the various things coming to life? So Krishna says that Kama esha krodha esha Rajo Guna samudbhava. See, again Rajo Guna is coming there. Kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhava mahashano mahapapma vidyenam iha vairinam. Here the language is important. He is saying kama esha krodha esha. Singular is used, not kama and krodha. And thereafter he is only dealing with the kama. He is not dealing with the krodha. Because the krodha comes when you have the kama, you have the desire, and you don't know how to fulfill the desire, then you get agitated and angry. You want your son to behave properly, he misbehaves. You don't apply your intelligence how to make the son properly behave, and try a few times this way, that way, but then when he does not behave according to your wish, you give a slap. You get agitated, anger. So it is an offshoot of desire. When the desire is obstructed, you get into krodha. So thereafter he is dealing with the kama only. That kama is the basic problem which is coming from the vikshepa, that same rajoguna samudbhava, because the real identity is covered by the tamo guna. The moment our real identity is covered, Rajoguna is motivating us that by this he will become fulfilled, by this he will become happy, by that we will become happy. Throughout life it is going on. Nothing has made me permanently happy. Is it not? So we have to treat that. That is a very scientific approach. Third chapter, today we found that in our website it is there. Third chapter full lecture is there, full. So, first thing is that we have to then deal with the kama. To deal with the kama, we have to know where it is and how to catch hold of the thief, that where to catch it. So he says that Indriyani manobuddhi asyadhisthana muchyate etair vimohayatyesha jnanam avritta dehinam. You would like to chant? You will remember then. Indriyani mano buddhihi
Indriyani mano buddhihi
asyadhisthana muchyate etair vimohayatyesha jnanam avritya dehinam. So he clearly says that the adhisthana of this, that means kama is to be found where all? Indriyani, the 5 sense organs, manaha, the mind, and buddhihi. The adhisthana of kama, that is the seat of kama, is the 5 senses, the mind and the buddhi. And remaining there, what are they doing? They are deluding the people. Vimohayatyesha. Jnanam avritya dehinam. They are not allowing the knowledge. Knowledge means knowledge of our real identity. They are covering up what will make us really happy. Our real identity, if we can get anchored, we will become always joyful. We don't have to bring joy from anywhere else. Whatever we will do out of joy, because the mind will remain always joyous there. So that identity, covering up the identity, what it is doing, that it is deluding us that the joy will come from here, the joy will come from there, the joy will come. And throughout life we are running after that. Is it not so? Have you understood this thief of kama? This is how it is much more intelligent than us. Is it not so? It is deluding us like this. Then, therefore, what do you have to do? You have to see, you have to look for it and treat these 3 elements, that indriya, mind and buddhi. Now, indriya is generally treated through discipline and all, and by controlling it by the mind. So, the first thing he says, tasmat tvam indriyanyado niyamya bharatashava papmanam prajahihyenam jnana vijnana nashanam. Therefore, first you have to have a discipline of the indriyas. That is extremely important. Because unless the senses are more or less disciplined, you won't be able to listen to the lecture also. Even coming here, some knowledge is given, your mind will be, the senses will be running around. You will never be able to, even if book is given, you won't be able to read the book. You won't be able to listen to any advice given by anybody if the indriyas are absolutely indisciplined. As it happens nowadays with many children. Earlier also maybe it was happening, we did not know. Now we find everywhere. Because the children are not disciplined. Maybe their parents also had lost discipline in some way or other. How can you blame the children? They are the product of the previous generation. We can never blame the present generation because they are the product of previous generation. Maybe the previous generation was much better, but they failed in some way to, because the present generation is becoming more and more intelligent. So it will need more skill to manage the present generation. You tell him to believe in God, you are not going to the temple, and scold him right from the beginning childhood. Who will believe in an intelligent person will not believe in God. He will question everything. You should be able to treat his mind through wisdom. Well, you are not believing, you tell him what is to be done, what is not to be done, etc. through accepting his point. But we don't know that. We don't know what God is. We don't know. We have been going to the temple, so force him to go to the temple. This is how we kill their inquiry. Actually, their inquisitiveness is there. But we are not allowing them to inquire. And we are killing their inquiry either by scolding or by slapping. So the indriyas have to be disciplined. Then the very important verses are coming, that is 42 and 43. That is why I came here. Indriyani paranyahu.
Indriyani paranyahu.
Indriyebhyah param manaha.
Indriyebhyah param manaha.
Manasastu para buddhihi.
Manasastu para buddhihi.
Yo buddhe paradastu saha.
Yo buddhe paradastu saha.
He says that the indriyas, the sense organs, are very powerful. It is accepted. Even the knowers say that the indriyas are parani ahuhu. That means in the scripture, the knowers also say that the sense organs are extremely powerful. But they are also saying that more powerful than the sense organs is the mind. Because without the support of the mind, the sense organs cannot do anything. Suppose you are very fond of rasgulla and you are sleeping. Your eyes are, I open your eye and show a rasgulla. The eyes, on the retina, the picture will be there. Maybe in the brain also some signal will be going. But your mind is not wakeful. Without the support of the mind, you will not be able to, nothing, no indriya will work without the support of the mind. So, you know that the more powerful is the mind. So, through the mind you can control the indriyas. Now, how will you control with the mind? Because the mind also is equally corrupted by the kama. They have already said, Indriyani mano buddhi asyadhisthana muchyate. So, to discipline the indriyas, you need a clean mind. The mind is already polluted by the kama. So, mind will rather engage the indriyas in the wrongdoings rather than withdrawing them. Is it understandable? If it is not, please tell me that it is going over the head or so. Don't tell after the lecture is over. Then he says that, okay, mind is also corrupt, but manasastu para buddhihi. The intelligence is still higher than the mind, and intelligence is the one who is guiding the mind. So it will tell you that, no, if you take rasgulla, then there will be diabetes, something will be wrong, or whatever. The reason, rationality will be given by the intelligence. But they have already said that the kama has already corrupted the buddhi also. Is it not? Indriyani mano buddhi asyadhisthana muchyate. So such a buddhi will not corrupt, rather it will dictate the mind to do the wrong things. When some desire motivated something is there, the buddhi will propel the mind to do the wrong things, go the wrong way. So how the correction will come then? So they have written all these things to discourage us that you live your life as you are. There is no way of improvement. It's not that. The Shastras are written only because there is a scope of improvement and evolution. Otherwise the Shastras would not have been written. So he now indicates that yo buddhehe paratastu saha. There is something still higher than and transcending buddhi. Saha. Yo buddhehe paraha. There is something still higher than the buddhi. In sloka number 40 he said, Indriyani mano buddhi asyadhishthanam uchyate. The kama's reach is up to the buddhi, not beyond. But try to find out there is something transcending the buddhi. That is what you are, your real identity. That is not corrupted by anything at all. Only you are not heeding it, you are not getting anchored there, you are not trying to understand it. Now, even if you don't have the experience of it, the Shastras are giving the characteristics of what is that Saha, what is that Atma. And if you try to follow that, then that is the point from where you can introduce the change. And what does it mean? That means what I am regularly saying almost every day 10 times, that the buddhi has to be anchored in the soul, anchored in our real identity, anchored in Brahman, anchored in the Atma. Anchored means what? The buddhi should look for guidance to that. Suppose you are behaving selfishly. The moment the buddhi is aware of his identity, that there is such an identity, you will say, no, I am not small, I am universal. So whatever right I should do, why should I act in a selfish manner, hurting others or selfishly gaining in a wrong manner by bribing others, or so that the buddhi will tell us. Is it not? So the buddhi to tell us, buddhi has to be anchored in our real dimension. From there the real judgment will come. When the buddhi is anchored in the true identity or the inmost level, we call it Viveka. This you have heard. Viveka buddhi it is called. The buddhi is normally not taking to Viveka. It is working we call it Vishaya buddhi. That means always slave to the world. Vishaya means objects. Our buddhi is always slave to the world. But it can equally become anchored in the soul and become the Viveka buddhi. That is why in Shastras everywhere Viveka and Vairagya is talked about. These are the main two wings on which we have to support and move towards the space of liberation. So here comes the real picture of Viveka, that always, even if you don't have the self-experience or samadhi or so, we can always, even if those who have the experience, they also will have to do. They have to constantly anchor their buddhi in that dimension. So constantly that dimension, the identity of the dimension, the characteristics of the dimension has to come constantly to the buddhi. How will it come? Through studies, through Satsanga basically. That is why they say Satsanga. Satsanga means the association of the saints, so that they tell you how to go about it. Suppose you are not able to decide, you ask a wise person. His buddhi is anchored, so he will tell that no, don't do that. It is apparently like that, but don't do it this way. And if you are ready to listen, then you are saved in most of the cases. This is what is the anchor. So, normally our intelligence is under the clutch of worldliness. It is called Vishaya buddhi. Vishaya buddhi means it is under the clutch of Vishaya. Vishaya means the world, the objects. And that is guiding the mind. That mind is guiding the body with the senses. So the whole pulling, the whole control is in the world. So that is why we are saying we are slave to the world. The world is controlling the body and senses. That is pulling the mind towards that, and the mind is pulling to the intelligence. All are working in unison. And what Bhagavad Gita is telling us to do is the next one. Slide. Second one. That how to become master of the world. That means not becoming king or the prime minister or chief minister. It is by winning over our own mind we become master of the world, so that the world cannot affect us anymore. Whatever may come, we are ready to accept that. Nothing will be affecting us. So, this is here, the next shloka. I will first read the shloka. Evam buddhe param buddhva
एवं बुद्धेः परं बुद्ध्वा
samstabhyatmanamaatmana
संस्तभ्यात्मानमात्मना
jahi shatrum mahabaho
जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो
kamarupam durasadam.
कामरूपं दुरासदम्.
He is saying that, O Mahabaho, O Arjuna, win over the greatest of enemy, very, very difficult to win, in the form of kama, desire. That is why whatever lecture is given on Atma, Brahman, any Upanishad, you take Kathopanishad suppose, so much is discussed about Atma, reality, this, that, the chapter after chapter. Going at the end, they will say that Yada sarve pramutyante kama yesya hridishritaha athamatyo amrito bhavati atra brahma samashnute. What does it mean? When the deep-seated hiding, the desires hiding in the heart, that is our center of our emotional being, they are completely cleansed, they are removed. The mortal man becomes immortal here itself. Athamatyo amrito bhavati atra brahma samashnati. Here itself he gets fused in Brahman. He attains Brahman. He becomes immortal here itself, not after the body falls. With the body, the buddhi is there as long as the body is there. Here itself it has to happen. Athamatyo. Matyo, why? Because we are mortal. Always we are holding on to mortal things, changeful things, objects of the world, which are all changeful, which have been created, which will be destroyed also. So our life is fully amalgamated with mortality. Such a life will always be like that, because our body, mind, personality is also mortal. But if we pin our identity to the real identity, which is not a part of the world at all, which is the revealer of the world, on which the whole world is appearing to be, if we anchor there, then we become immortal. It is not that the body becomes immortal. We shift our identity from the mortal body, mind, personality to the immortal self, to our real identity. That is the only necessary. Inside, nothing happens outside. So, he says that, how does it happen? How does he win over the kama? Buddhehe param buddhva. That which is superior to the buddhi, that has to be understood. Buddhva means it has to be, again, it is superior to the buddhi, but to understand you have only buddhi, through that only understand. Normal buddhi will not be able to understand. The buddhi has to be cultured through the shastra and all these characteristics of the Atma by introspection, meditation, contemplation, nididhyasana, whatever is needed. The buddhi will undergo, or best is vichara. I told you the other shloka. Vichara tikshnatam dhihi pashyati param padam dirgha samsara rogasya vicharo hi mahushadam. By vichara what happens? The buddhi undergoes a complete transformation. It becomes sharp, it becomes subtle, it becomes pure, and by that what happens? It starts knowing the self. Pashyati, it just feeds the self. By becoming sharp, subtle, pure, because you cannot see the self with the eyes or with any of the senses. It is not a material object. It has to be seen by the knowledge of the buddhi, by the buddhi's light. It is called ikshana, ikshate. Ikshana is called, the seeing of the buddhi is called ikshana. So, evam buddhe param buddhva. The malina buddhi, the impure buddhi will not be able to. So the buddhi has to be purified by sadhana, by constant application of viveka again. That buddhi samstabhya atmanam atmana. By completely, the our small egoistic I has to be completely fused with the real I by knowing that which is transcending the buddhi. When the small I gets dissolved in the real I, becomes one with the real I, that is what we mean by yoga. That is what they are saying. That it has to be well fixed in that. That means anchored in that. They can win over the kama, the desire. So what it is shown here is the real identity, whether we know it or we know only from the Shastras and the Guru, what are the characteristics of the real identity, what is the Viveka, what are that the real identity is imperishable, unaffected, pure, immortal, it never changes at all, unchanging. Such an identity, the consciousness, which is the seer and revealer of everything. Our body has been changing throughout life, from small to now, whatever has happened. Our mind is changing every moment. Now it is dukkhi, now it is sukhi. All these changes are also being revealed by that identity. The emotions are changing. The buddhi also sometimes dull, sometimes sharp. It is always changeful. All these changes of everything is being revealed by this consciousness. Without the consciousness, we would not have known anything at all. The computer or artificial intelligence can do much, much more work than us. It can solve equations which we never be able to solve also. But poor fellow, it doesn't know that it is doing. Most foolish, because it doesn't have that faculty to know. Because the instruments have not developed that awareness which the human cells have developed, or the animal cells have partly developed. The fullest, the maximum growth as we find here is the human animal. That we start knowing ourselves, we start recognizing that we can look into ourselves. Viveka Chudamani says that in human birth, we have been given the capacity to know ourselves, which is not given to any other animal. Whether it is given or not, we don't know. We have to assume that we are the best production. So, then what will happen? The Viveka is anchored in the, we have called it inner voice for making it easy. Actually, it is anchored in the real identity, taking its instructions from there. And that is controlling, pulling the mind. So the mind which is impure, by the touch of the Viveka Buddhi, it will start becoming pure. The prolonged sadhana is to first make the Buddhi anchored in the real identity, then it becomes Viveka. But it is not a one-time process, it will also grow. The whole thing will cumulative, it will grow. Then that Viveka will try to clear up the mind from its impurities, desires and all. That mind will then operate on the senses and always manage the senses to do the right thing. Is it understandable? So, what happens is, you can become master of the world, the senses will no longer be slave to the world, the mind also will not be slave to the world. Can you show that chariot picture? The chariot. This I have shown many times, but those who are new, you can see. I have spoken enough, you can understand yourself also, if you have heard. This is from Kathopanishad. Sloka number 1.3.3 and 4. Kathopanishad 1.3.3, 1.3.4. This example is given by Kathopanishad, in Kathopanishad. See, normally no chariot will be drawn by odd number of horses. It will be either 2 or 4 or 6 or 8 or, I think Indonesia, that central island, it is 14 horses, na? Who is from Indonesia? 14 horses, na? Something like that. But it would never be an odd number. The Arjuna Upadesha, that Gita Upadesha, that is their central island. Huge sculpture. I think it is metal, no? Or stone. Metal must be, because the horses we can see through. Horses are having jali made of net, you can see through. So, here the horses, he says, Tasmat tvam indriyanyadu niyamya bharatashava. The first step is to discipline the indriyas. So here the 5 horses are the 5 senses. So the first thing you put, the horses are put. Otherwise they will see, the moment they see grass, they will go down. The chariot will lose its, whether the chariot breaks also, they will not worry. They will go and eat grass. So they have to be disciplined first of all. Without that, nothing can be done. Now comes the whole thing that the Atma is the master of the chariot. The chariot is the whole body-mind personality, where Atma is the master. That is why I have not given any color. It is Shuddha Sattva. That's no color, not even white. It is transparent. The background is white, so it is appearing like white. And if you don't put the limit of the head and body, then it will not be seen. Otherwise, it doesn't have that also. It is all pervading everywhere. Now, the intelligence is the charioteer, the Sarathi, like Krishna. And the lagam, the reins, they constitute the mind. Now, when the chariot has to be driven, should not the driver ask the master of the chariot, where should we drive? Suppose you have a driver. When you are getting into the car, should not the driver ask you, sir, where do you want to go? Or he drives according to his own will. But in our body-mind personality, what is happening is exactly that we are doing. We never ask the Atma where to go. It will always tell us where to go. But we not even recognize that it is there. The intelligence, the driver decides where to go. And that is what we are doing. One day the driver will take you to the market. The day we want to go to SIRD, it will take you to the market. The day we want to go to the market, it will take you to see. So many things will happen. That is our life is. Constantly we are moving like Brownian motion, random motion here, there, wherever the driver is taking. And the driver is motivated by the reins, is pulled by the reins, pulled by the horses, wherever the horses are taking. Finally, wherever the horses are taking, we are going there. Now, the whole thing has to change. First of all, you have to discipline the horses so that they listen to the order. Then the reins have to be made strong, so that suppose horses are running away, you are pulling. If the reins snap, then gone. So the reins have to be powerful. That means the mind has to be nourished properly, not to obey the horses. You get my point? Normally our mind is always wherever the horses are pulling are going. Now in this case you have to make the mind such that when I pull it should not listen. Problem, everybody what they say is it doesn't listen. It goes haywire. So, because why are it not listening? Because we have not given the proper nourishment to the mind. The reins, to strengthen the reins, we have to give proper nourishment to the mind. What is the proper nourishment? Give noble thoughts to the mind, read noble books where noble values are preserved, see such films and internet, such things that which will make your mind lofty, powerful, inner strength, where the values are projected, where the mind will absorb the values. We have not done. So naturally the mind yields, the reins yield. Now, this reins will be pulled, but now you forget that small one. That I will tell something. Now the reins are pulled by the intelligence, the Sarathi, the driver, the charioteer. Now the charioteer should control the chariot properly, and for that it must look to the Atma and find out where it should go. Which is the path to be, more than the goal, what is the path to be taken. Now you have GPS, so once you put on the GPS, it will take to the goal. You don't have to worry about the goal. Actually in life also it is so. You have to know what is the right path to take. Once you are on the path, you will be so happy that you will forget the goal. The path will make you fulfilled. You walk along the path the right path. Path of Shreyas, we say, not path of Preyas. Preyas means whatever is lucrative, attractive. And Shreyas means the ultimate good, auspiciousness. So, by that what will happen? Then it is the full integrated personality. Normally in our personality there is always clashes, there are clashes going on. What the senses want, the mind doesn't want. What the mind wants, the intelligence says that no, it is not the true. What the intelligence says, the senses and the mind, they don't listen. So constant rubbing, friction, clash going on, inner clash. In Sanskrit it is called klesha. Clash is called klesha. Same. So, now what will happen? The whole thing will be beautifully harmonized and integrated. The intelligence is looking to the Atma and giving the direction. The reins are properly nourished. They will listen to the intelligence, the Sarathi, the driver, and the horses are disciplined. Whatever the direction is given, according to that it will go. That is, properly disciplined horses, guided by a well-nourished mind, are pulled by the well-nourished mind, guided by the well-nourished intelligence or Viveka Buddhi, which is anchored to the Atma, the chariot will reach its goal. Actually, it will be on the right path. Now, we have to remember that the horses have to be strong, but disciplined. So, we have to have enough proper food for the body, which will make our senses, body, everything strong, but not moody. Strong but not moody. Strong but disciplined. Whatever is to be done, it will be ready to do. If you have to withstand something, it will be ready to withstand. Then for the mind, we have to give, to strengthen the mind, purify the mind, we have to give corresponding nourishment for the mind. What are the nourishment for the mind? The thoughts and emotions. Cultivate good emotions. Make the mind liberal always, serving others, liberal, not selfish, not constricted, not self-centered. All the problems I have been hearing is only self-centeredness. The nuclear family, all the children have become so self-centered that they are all suffering from anxiety and what will people think, how will I get this job, what will the boss say. Why think so much? Simply do whatever to be done. Work hard, do, that's all. If you are sacked by the boss, go away. If you don't get a job, walk on the street, beg. What is the harm? We are beggars. Are we not beggars? Royal beggars. So, then for the intelligence, you have to give the proper nourishment to the intelligence. By which, what is the proper nourishment? This, what we are doing here. The Shastras and this is, you have to understand, you have to analyze, it will not easily go into your mind. So the intelligence is given an activity where the exercise is to make it sharper, subtler, truth-seeking, making it Viveka, that Viveka is being done. That is the nourishment for the intelligence. With that, you will be able to worldly work also much better, because the decision making will become very sharp. Enlightened decision making will come if you do it. So everybody is giving the proper food, and Atma doesn't need anything because it doesn't change, it is immortal, it is imperishable, unaffected. You cannot do anything to the Atma at all. So the whole chariot will move on the right path like that. The process, as I was discussing the other day, is, today almost the time is over. As I was discussing yesterday, how to go about it is, first take to Sattva Guna practices. Ahara. That means ahara means not only food. Whatever we are seeing, whatever we are hearing, whatever we are reading, whatever we are thinking also. Try to choose all sattvika elements, Sattva Guna, so that the mind craves for Satsanga also. Otherwise, he will not come for the Satsanga. Suppose your children, they don't know anything. Give them enough of Sattvika Ahara. Give them good books. noble values, where the values are there. Such books only allow inside the house. Give him such, because other books he will automatically get from other places. You have to prevent that by growing a taste for the noble books. Then as he grows, we can go to the further and further in the scriptural satsang and all. Now once the mind develops a taste for the sattvika things, automatically it will get some satsanga somewhere. Satsanga means coming in the presence of a saint or listening to such discussions, thinking about it. Hey, they need not accept whatever is being said. Let them apply their rationality. Let them apply all the intelligence. That is why in our Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita also, everywhere there are questions. If you just simply listen, then you will not understand. You have to be intelligent enough to raise your doubts, raise your questions, then only the questions will get clarified. So that is how they will grow through the satsang, the real values which are to be followed. What is the right path to take? Then once you have the satsang, automatically you will find that it is, we call it osmosis. That means unawares the qualities will percolate. Osmosis, what happens? There is a semi-permeable membrane. On this side you put sugar syrup, and on this side it is water only. You will find after some time this water has become sweet. But there is no hole as such, it is semi-permeable membrane. So by the pressure of the liquid itself, pressure of the molecules, there is a mixing takes place. Similarly, whomever you are mixing with, automatically there is an interaction of the qualities. Suppose a ball is standing here, another ball is moving. The kinetic energy is there in the ball, moving ball. As it hits the other ball, it starts moving. Similarly, it is not just object like that. Everywhere it is happening. If you be with a peaceful person, you will find peace dawns in you. If you be with an angry person, without knowing, if you are observant enough, why so much I am becoming angry for nothing today? Because you have been in Sangha with an angry person. Because the minds are overlapping. The forces acting in each mind, they are actually not just encapsulated by the mind, by the body. The mind interaction is there. Whomever you are interacting with, the qualities interchange is taking place. So Satsanga, that is why in all scriptures, all books, not only Bhagavad Gita, all the Puranas, all the Upanishads, everywhere Satsanga, Satsanga, Satsanga. Because it evolves us automatically just by the percolation of the qualities, by the osmosis of the qualities. So, then as we grow in Satsanga, we have to grow our retentivity. That receptivity is okay for Satsanga. Suppose you are receptive, you are not arrogant, you are humble. Then whatever the Sat is saying, also whatever the scriptures are saying, you will receive it. But you will not be able to retain. For retentivity in Sanskrit is called dhriti. You will find in Bhagavad Gita, where we were studying the buddhi, just after buddhi comes dhriti. Dhriti also is sattvika, rajasa, tamasa. 3 kinds of dhriti they have defined. In 18th chapter you can go, just after buddhi it is there. Now this dhriti means whatever we are understanding with the buddhi is retained by the dhriti. Do you get it? We are understood, but by the time you go out of the hall, it has fallen off through the holes of the basket. It's a bamboo basket. So, to have the dhriti, you have to, that basket has to be changed. At least you have to apply a cow dung layer so that it can hold. Or if gold is there, you apply a gold plate so that it can hold. So that whatever we are understanding with the buddhi, the dhriti has to, the real things have to be held by the dhriti. Now, to do that, you will find that you have dhriti about the things in which you get rasa. Rasa, you understand, taste. Wherever you get taste, that will remember. The other things he will not remember. So whenever the dhriti is less and you are not able to retain, it is meaning that you have not developed taste for spirituality. The taste will not automatically come. For the taste, your whole being has to undergo certain changes. That is again the Sattva Guna has to be cultivated in the body, mind, personality. So you have to change your ahara, all the inputs, the food, the hearing, that everything you change, then the body will undergo a complete transformation. As much it is transformed, so much it will be able to hold the whatever you are listening or whatever you are understanding. Otherwise, after understanding also, it will not be retaining. You will retain only for which you have the taste. Now, why Satsanga is so much important here also? Because Satsanga develops a taste for this spirituality. Suppose if I had not explained you like this and I had just interpreted the Shankara Bhashya, reading the Sanskrit, all the Anvaya and everything, next day also you would not come. Because you don't have the taste for it. To develop a taste for it, you need something. So the Satsanga will actually create that. In remaining in Satsanga, you will develop a taste for this goal or this path. So this is the whole sadhana. Anything more is not necessary, I think. Today is the 4th day, na? Nanyam gunebhyah kartaram yada drashtanupashyati gunebhyascha param vetti mad bhavam sodigacchati. This I have to tell you today because the other exercise was connected to this. He says that yada drashta means all of us, the seer. Anupashyati means whenever they are saying means following something. They see, following what? Following vichara. That whatever vichara we have not now done, following that vichara, when the drashta, the seer, will see, what they will see? He will not see gunebhyah anyam kartaram. That it is no other doer or karta other than the gunas. That means always I am thinking, I did this, I did that, I have to do this, I have to do that, great, small, sinful, everything I have to do. That is, I am the karta. But when we start seeing that it is all natures, the 3 gunas who have made the nature, my body, mind, personality also is a part of the nature. It is also made of the 3 gunas. My senses are also made of the 3 gunas. And the whole life is an interaction of the 3 gunas with the whole world, that personality is also interacting. Do you understand? It's a phenomena just going on. I am a neutral observer of the whole thing. So there is no karta anywhere. The Atma is never karta, never a doer, never an enjoyer. The Atma only reveals the world. That the world becomes known. That is only the duty of the Atma. That is only what the Atma does. So, Nanyam gunebhya kartaram yada drashtanupashyati. When the drashta, the seer, he doesn't find any karta doing this activity at all. They are all the play of gunas. Not only that, there is an additional point which is most important. Gunebhyascha param vetti. He sees something transcending the gunas. Now you go back to the shlokas today we studied. That the body, mind, buddhi. Then what did he say? Yo buddhehe paratastu saha. Evam buddhehe param buddhva. That is transcending the buddhi also. That is, guna is going up to the buddhi. The 3 gunas are there in the body, they are in the mind, they are in the buddhi. All these are part of the world, part of nature. But the soul, the consciousness, the Atma, the Brahman, it is not nature. The whole nature it is holding. The nature is playing in this consciousness. So when the gunebhyascha param vetti means the same thing. He sees yo buddhehe paratastu saha. When he sees that, tada madbhavam sodigacchati. He vetti madbhavam sodigacchati. He attains my bhava, Krishna's bhava. Krishna is saying my bhava. That means what? Krishna has already identified with that. So this person also will identify and he will have whatever I am seeing as identity, he will have also that identity. प्रबुद्धं विमुक्तं विकारादिहीनं प्रसन्नं सदा नित्यबोधस्वरूपं परं निश्चलं निर्गुणं सर्वरूपं भजेऽहं सदानुस्मरामि प्रणमामि। प्रबुद्धं विमुक्तं विकारादिहीनं प्रसन्नं सदा नित्यबोधस्वरूपं परं निश्चलं निर्गुणं सर्वरूपं भजेऽहं सदानुस्मरामि प्रणमामि।